There's a lot more to this country than just legendary football players, though there are a lot of those. Welcome to WatchMojo's Top 5 Facts. In this installment, we're counting down the 5 most bizarre facts we found about Brazil, the world's 5th largest country by both landmass and population. Consider that a bonus fact. Number 5. Sao Paulo is an ad-free city. Ads are, for the most part, annoying, but are generally just something we tolerate. But Brazil's most populated city, Sao Paulo, does not. In September 2006, the city's then mayor, Gilberto Kassab, passed the Clean City Law, which outlawed all forms of outdoor advertising, including public transit posters and store banners. 15,000 billboards had to be removed when the ban went into effect. This posed many concerns regarding the city's economy and identity, as critics estimated the ban would eliminate over 20,000 jobs and nearly $150 million in revenue. However, the ban was ultimately favored by the citizenry, when a survey conducted 5 years later found that over 70% of the populace agreed that the ban boosted the city's productivity and aesthetic appeal. Number 4. Rio de Janeiro was once the capital of Portugal? Long before it was announced as the first South American city to host the Olympics, Rio had quite the unusual identity crisis as the national and state capital. During the Napoleonic Wars, King John VI feared that the presence of Napoleon's army in the Iberian Peninsula posed an imminent threat to the royal family's safety. Thus, he ordered the entire court's overseas relocation to the then colony state of Brazil in 1808, and Rio de Janeiro was subsequently established as Portugal's new capital. This historical milestone made Rio the first and to this day the only European capital to ever exist outside of Europe. Number 3. Dolphins and fishermen work together in southern Brazil. Dolphin intelligence has fascinated marine biologists for decades, particularly when it comes to their interactions with humans. Case in point, the bottlenose dolphins of Laguna Santa Catarina, who have been helping local fishermen with their catches since 1847 without any formal instruction. The dolphins signal nearby fishermen with head and tail slaps, indicating a sweet spot for them to cast their nets. How this phenomenal relationship began remains a mystery. However, the most recent studies indicate that the continued connection is determined by factors such as genetics and social learning. So what's in it for the dolphins? Not much, save from chowing down on the occasional fish that escapes from the nets, though we're fairly certain that they also have the deep gratitude of Laguna's fishermen. Number 2. Some Brazilian prisoners read and cycle to freedom. As one of several solutions addressing their overcrowded prisons, Brazil has implemented programs like redemption through reading, which allows convicts to shave off weeks from their sentences through reading classic literary works and writing critical reports on them. Nearly half of all inmates there have completed fewer than 9 years of education, so for many, this is the first time they've experienced the enriching power of literature in their lives. Other means of reducing prison time, including pedaling on stationary bikes that generate electricity to power local street lamps. Part of the idea behind these activities is for them to have constructive impacts on inmates, making them better prepared for their reintegration into society. Unusual? Certainly. Cruel? Only if you're not a gym rat or a bookworm. Number 1. Sao Paulo elected a rhinoceros to city council. Yes, in 1959, a 5-year-old female rhino named Cacareco won a seat with nearly 100,000 votes. Was it just an elaborate hoax? Yes and no. A group of students printed up nearly 250,000 ballots with the rhino's name on them, and those ballots were then legitimately cast by voters. And although many had dismissed the newly elected rhino city councilor as just a hoax, many critics and scholars interpreted the votes as a means of protesting political corruption and food shortages. One voter reportedly commented, "Better to elect a rhino than an ass." However, despite Cacareco's win, election officials ultimately nullified her ballots and held a new election the following week. So much for progress.
Not even a rhinoceros? Impossible.
What do you guys think? Is making prisoners read, write, and bike their way to freedom unethical? For more may or may not be ad-free top 10s and brow-raising top 5s published every day, be sure to subscribe to WatchMojo.